What up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing the weekly wrestling review for the beginning weeks of January 2014. Yes, we are finally in this year. It is great. We're gonna be reviewing. Well, it's kind of like the end of December, cause like the first Raw we're gonna review falls under the last December. But anyway, whatever. It's the beginning of January, so it's cool. Starting to get more up to date, which is excellent. Yeah, what I like to do. Watch current wrestling instead of being, a month behind. But I'm still a month behind no matter what I try and do. But, yeah, it's whatever. So on this episode, we got reviews for 2 weeks worth of Raw, SmackDown, Impact, NXT, Ring of Honor. I believe we have a review. Yeah, we have a review for TNA One Night Only, the Tag Team Tournament. And then I think that's about it. Yeah, no Total Divas. We're just gonna jump to some wrestling news. So this was actually a good 2 weeks worth of episodes. Like, I pretty much enjoyed everything, even SmackDown to a certain extent. Like, these 2 weeks worth of shows, and I'll talk about the one show that I really enjoyed. It was an Impact. But, like, you know how sometimes when you watch Raw and it's like, oh my god, it's 3 hours, and sometimes, like, it goes up and down, like, yeah, it's good spots, bad spots, all that kind of stuff. It was actually enjoyable. I found myself enjoying all 3 hours worth of content on the show, which is pretty unusual for me, because usually it's like, oh god, Divas match, oh god, this, oh god, that. But I have to say, these were a couple of great episodes. So let's start off with the Raw. There's 2 things I want to talk about on this episode of Raw. This was the episode of Raw that Brock Lesnar made his comeback, and he made his comeback, and Heyman's like, Lesnar's back because he wants a shot at the WWE title. And when he said that, I was like, that'd be pretty interesting. I'd like to see Lesnar get a WWE title shot eventually. He's not really in any real storylines. He just comes in, does stuff, and then disappears for a while. And well, I guess the storyline between him and Triple H, that was a storyline, and then the storyline between him and Punk. But it wasn't really a storyline. He was just there to kind of fill the void. Well, not fill the void. I think it was to start the Heyman feud, or I don't remember, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know. He just comes in, does stuff, leaves, goodbye. And I thought about it to myself, like, if he came in and kind of wrestled for the WWE title, that'd be interesting. Maybe even I don't know if he'd get a title run, but just for him to be in that position of a top guy, I think it'd be good. I mean, if he were to be held in that top spot, he'd definitely have to appear more, which might go against his contract, but I'd like to see it. I like watching Brock. But he made his return here, said he wanted a world title shot. Mark Henry came out, and then Lesnar pretty much destroyed Mark Henry, and this was the infamous girly scream. I don't really know how to describe this scream other than very high-pitched. I'll link a video if you haven't seen it, or you've seen it but you haven't seen it in a while. I'll link the girly Lesnar scream. And it was a hell of a scream. It was. But the beatdown looked brutal, and that's what it needed to do, just make Lesnar look like a monster. So I enjoyed that. The other thing I want to talk about in this episode of Raw, this was where Daniel Bryan was kind of joined the Wyatt family, where he had to do a gauntlet. He took on Luke Harper. They had a good match. Then he took on Eric Rowan. They had a so-so match. And then they took on Bray Wyatt, and it never happened because Harper and Rowan got involved. And after the match, Bryan's like, Wyatt was right all along, and he wants to join the family. He hits him with the sister Abigail, and then he becomes Daniel Wyatt. Now, first when I heard this, and like I heard the Raw results, and it's like, Daniel Bryan has joined the Wyatt family. I was like, what? Like, that is just so left for him. The progression of Daniel Bryan has been an interesting one. He went from like his little thing with Kane and Orton, and they were kind of like feuding together at the same time, but they were all faces. And then he kind of broke out, and the crowd started to cheer him on. And then, he has the match at SummerSlam. and he becomes WWE champion for like 2 seconds, and then Orton, and then, you know, all the stuff leading up to this, and then he teams up with Punk against the Wyatts at Survivor Series, and then he feuds with the Wyatts, and then he becomes a Wyatt, and I don't know, it's been pretty interesting. It's been an interesting year for Daniel Bryan, the start of an interesting year for him. So yeah, I don't know, like, when I first heard this, I was like, what? Like, I had more questions, like how? You know, what? Like, it was so weird, and, you know, he ended up joining it. I still don't know if this was the right move, because, like, they ended up breaking the team, like, a week later. Like, they did the thing on Old School Raw, and then I think the next week they had a match against the Usos, and then that's where he turned on Bray or something. I don't know, I haven't watched that far. But yeah, it just seems so short-lived, and, like, it coulda, I don't know, like, I read some comments of some people what they thought, and someone was like, yo, they should be the last 2 in the Rumble, and then Bryan turns on Bray, and blah, 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 and I'm like, okay, that'd be good. But it's like, what about Batista? You know, so I don't know. We'll have to watch how this plays out in the coming weeks, but I honestly don't know. I think I don't like it. Like, I don't even know what to think when I hear this. You know, I think I don't like it. I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of like torn because it just seems so random. You know, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. What did you think of Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatt family? Was it good? Was it strange? Or you like kind of like me, where it's like, what? But yeah, you kind of like it, but it's kind of like, what? It's like, I don't know. But it was interesting, definitely interesting. I think, yeah, that's definitely a good word to describe it. But we'll talk more about that on the Old School episode of Raw. Next we got NXT. This was the episode of Sami Zayn versus Leo Kruger in a 2 out of 3 falls match. It was a good match. They seem to be having Sami do all these 2 out of 3 falls matches, because he did the one with Cesaro, then he did the one here with Kruger, and then he's supposed to be doing another one with Cesaro at the NXT pay-per-view. And it's like, God, like, NXT doesn't have a lot of gimmick matches, so it should be special when you have a gimmick match. But you're having this 2 out of 3 falls match, like, every month. And, I don't know. It definitely wasn't as good as the first one, the Cesaro one. It was good, it just wasn't as good. You know what I'm saying? So, Sami won that. That was cool. I've been hearing things about Leo Kruger turning... He's no longer Leo Kruger. He's changed his gimmick and stuff. I haven't seen that yet. I'm really waiting for that, because I really like the Leo Kruger gimmick. And I thought he did it very well. And... you know, it seemed to have a lot of potential for something, but they ended up scrapping it and going with someone else, or something else. Like, I've heard it's from some Russell Brand movie, and yeah, I don't know. If you've seen it, let me know what you think, but yeah, it looks interesting. Or, I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't look interesting at all. I like Leo Kruger too much for him to change into, I don't know, some whatever. So that was NXT. Next we got Impact. This was the Impact that, the coronation for Magnus, as the world champion. Then we had AJ come back. And, this was exciting. I really enjoyed this. I like Dixie as a group. I want to talk about Dixie Carter in general. I think she's a good heel. I think she can hold her own in a promo. You know, some of the things she says are a shoot. And I like it. I like Dixie Carter as a heel company owner. I know a lot of people were hesitant, along with myself. Like, she has no business being on TV. Just do your shit behind the scenes. But she's really, like, proven a lot of people wrong. At least in my opinion. I know a lot of people that still don't like Dixie as, like, this heel owner. But you know what? I think she's doing a great job. So let me know in the comments. Do you think Dixie's doing a good job as a heel, the heel owner? Because, like, I'll talk about the next episode of Impact. Probably one of the best episodes I've seen in quite some time. Not this one. The next one we'll talk about. But also in the show we had we had Samuel Shaw make his in-ring debut. It wasn't really that much of a match that I could be like, oh shit, that's impressive. He wears a lot of clothes. Like, a lot of clothes. He's gonna have a heat stroke. Like, if he wrestles a long match, like, maybe a 10-15 minute match, he's gonna fucking die of heat stroke. Definitely. He's got gloves, he's got boots, probably socks, these pants, a shirt. Oh my god, and it doesn't look comfortable at all. Like, at fucking all. It just looks like he's dying in that. But, the Samuel Shaw thing, I see more and more of it on, like, TNA's YouTube page. They upload videos from, like, Impact of him and Christy or whatever. And I'm just like, where the fuck is this going? Is he gonna kill her? What's gonna happen? What is the payoff for this angle? What is this character gonna do? Like, it's interesting, but it's like, I don't know, there's only so much you can do with that type of character, you know what I'm saying? Until it's like, you've done too much, or you offended somebody, and, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where this is all headed, but, we'll have to wait and see. Also on the show, we had an X Division title match, a rematch from the previous episode, Aries and Sabin. Pretty good match. Sabin wins and is the new X Division champion again. Not a big fan of short title reigns. You know, Aries held the belt for a week, and then, you know, Sabin's got it again. Hopefully they don't switch it too often, because I think it demeans the title a lot when you have just so many quick title changes. So hopefully Sabin will. I think Aries is the current champion, so Sabin's got to eventually lose it to Austin Aries, which is fine. But hopefully it's not on the next episode, you know. So, so yeah. Anyways, we had the Magnus coronation. Oh, I was talking about Dixie. I also want to talk about her band of idiots. Ethan Carter, love him. I think he's doing a great job. I think he carries the character very well. Definitely proved me wrong. I had like little to no expectations with this. I'm like Derek Bateman. I'm like, you know, that I don't know how this is gonna work. But he's blown me away with what he's done and how he handles himself and the position that he's given. Because he's kind of like a top heel. I don't want to say a top heel, but he's definitely like top mid card. Being associated with Magnus and all that. So that's interesting. And Rockstar Spud, I love him. I actually saw a video on YouTube recently where him and Christy Hemme, they were doing some photo shoot. Oh, it was a Valentine's Day photo shoot, and they were like talking with the divas, like, oh, pose like this. And Rockstar Spud was just so awesome, and I'll link that in the description too. It was fucking great. He's awesome. He's quick-witted, you know, when like he's had some backstage interactions with like other people, like Sting and stuff. And I think he holds himself very well in those promos, and I just like him in general. I think he's awesome. He's another guy that's like, oh god, you know, I had little to no expectations for, and he's blown me away as well. So maybe I should just have little to no expectations with everyone, so they can blow me away. And if not, then I'll be like, oh, you know, I knew it was gonna suck. So. Yeah, so if you lower your standards, everything will either, 1, be awesome, or 2, not disappoint you because you're already expecting nothing. So, yeah. So, yeah, AJ came out and attacked Magnus and challenged him to a unification match. There can only be one champion. Pretty familiar storyline, right? I think I've heard about this, you know, about a month ago in a different company where there was 2 champions, and then they were like, there can only be one champion, and then they like unified the titles or something. I mean, it's similar, but it's different enough to be different. I'd more compare this to the whole CM Punk walkout thing with the WWE title. And he comes back, faces, I think it was Cena for his WWE title to be the undisputed, whatever, WWE champion. And I'd more compare it to that, but it looks shitty on TNA when you got WWE doing their unification storyline, and then TNA just does one right after. And yeah, so it kind of looks shitty on them, but, you know, it's different enough that it doesn't look exactly the same, but it kind of looks very similar to where they look crappy. So there's that. So that was that episode of Impact. Next we got SmackDown. Yeah, nothing on SmackDown. I want to talk. Not this episode of SmackDown. I want to talk about the next episode of SmackDown. There's actually stuff to talk about. Actually, I want to talk about. Actually, we'll talk about it on RAW, whatever. Next, we got Ring of Honor. These two episodes of Ring of Honor that we're going to review weren't really episodes. Like, this episode here was a recap show of, like, all the stuff that happened in 2013. You know, they kind of showed, like, the rise of Matt Taven. Pretty much going, you know, aligning himself with Truth Martini, becoming the TV champion, and the Hoopla stuff. They talked about Scum and the stuff they done throughout the year, and Red Dragon becoming tag champs, and just stuff like that. It was just recapping some of the big things that happened in Ring of Honor throughout the year. Next, we got TNA One Night Only tag team tournaments. Once again, I went into this with little to no expectations because the past couple, pretty much every One Night Only pay-per-view has been a disappointment, except I really enjoyed the World X Cup one. I really enjoyed that show, and but before, like, a couple of those before were disappointed. You know, they just had things just to kill a bunch of time. But this one, I really enjoyed. Like, I'm a fan of tag team wrestling, so I was pretty excited going into this. Like, oh, it's gonna be all tag teams, and well, I wasn't excited, but I'm like, okay, I might like this because it's all tag teams. And it was TNA Tag Team Tournament, and overall, I gotta say, it was a good show. I really enjoyed this. As a fan of someone who likes tag team wrestling, if you like tag team wrestling, I'd definitely say check out this show. It was awesome. I don't want to say that far. It was good. It was solid. There was only one thing that bugged me on the show, and that was the ending. But other than that, I thought the show was good. It had a lot of good matches. Like I said, nothing was bad, except the ending, but, yeah, there's nothing, like, really bad, like, oh my god, avoid this with, like, by all means. There's nothing like that, so, we'll get into it. Actually, one thing I want to talk about, for them, you know, I was kind of disappointed in the sense, like, I would have liked to seen some other tag teams, like, throughout TNA's history, like, the Naturals, the Motor City Machine Guns, AMW, Beer Money, maybe an Inc. appearance, just other people that were prevalent in the, I don't even know if that's the right word I want to use there, people that were, you know, factors in making the tag team division what it is. Maybe a Team Canada reappearance, that would have been interesting. They had a couple tag teams in here, like we had Bad Influence, we had Generation Me, which was a good surprise to see. Chavo and Hernandez, Magnus and Samoa Joe, which I don't really consider a tag team, but whatever. And then we had some random teams like the Hot Shots, Chase Stevens and Cassidy O'Reilly, and Petey Williams and Sonjay, because they had such a successful tag career in TNA. So other than that, I would like to see more tag teams. Definitely the Machine Guns. Who else? I would have liked to see an AMW. For, like, that would be one team I'd really, really want to see. But other than that, it was alright. So yeah, let's get on with the show. First match, Generation Me versus Petey and Sonjay. Pretty good match, Generation Me. Good way to start this show. Just some fast-paced tag team action. And a good way to start the show. Generation Me. This is pretty much like a tournament. So whoever won advanced in the tournament. So we had Generation Me. They went on to the next round. Next, we got Aces and Eights, which was Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe taking on the Hot Shots, Chase Stevens and Cassidy O'Reilly. I hope they would have made like an offer to Andy Douglas for them to reform the Naturals for One Night Only, but whatever. We got half the Naturals, I guess. So this is an okay match, nothing too great here. Not really a big fan of Wes Briscoe. I think he sucks, and Garrett Bischoff's not the greatest, so it was just kind of shitty. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't anything bad. It was just not anything great. It was just okay. Aces and Eights win, so they go on to the next round. Next, we got Austin Aries and Bobby Roode versus the British Invasion. This was a good match. I really enjoyed this. Aries and Roode, they did some funny stuff, and they did funny stuff in all their matches, and I really enjoyed that. And British Invasion was Rob Terry and Douglas Williams, and like I said, good match. Roode and Aries win. Next, we got Bad Influence versus Chavo and Hernandez in a good match. Chavo and Hernandez win. I would have liked to see Bad Influence win and progress more in the tournaments. I think they're a better team than Chavo and Hernandez, but whatever. Chavo and Hernandez won. Next, we got Aces and Eights versus Magnus and Samoa Joe. Like I said, this was just okay. Wes Briscoe sucks, and Garrett sucks as well. So, Magnus and Joe, they tried to carry the match to the best of their ability, and it was alright. Next, we got Team 3D versus Generation Me. This was a good match. I enjoyed this as well. Team 3D cut a good heel promo after. Well, it's pretty much just Bubba just shitting all over the fans and stuff. And Bubba was great on this show. Every time he was on the mic, like, the main event was awesome. Just the mic work from Bully Ray. Just the interaction he had with his opponents on the mic was good, and his interaction with the crowd. But okay, so after this match, after they defeated Gen Me, they cut a heel promo. They pretty much shit on the fans, blah 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 blah, say they're best tag team in the world, and they're gonna win the tournament. Keep that in mind. Cut a very good heel promo. Next match we got okay, Roode and Aries versus Magnus and Samoa Joe. This was another good match. Roode and Aries win. Next, we got Team 3D versus Chavo and Hernandez. This was a good match as well. Team 3D win. And then we get to our main event. Like I said, I liked everything on the show except for the main event. And the reason for that is you had Team 3D versus Aries and Roode. Not a problem with that. I don't care. That's fine. It was a pretty good match. And the only reason that this match was not good at all is because they turned Team 3D into baby faces. You have Team 3D shit all over the fans and the crowd and everything, and then you expect the fans to cheer them in the main event? What? That is so retarded. Like, it was so stupid. The fans didn't give a shit. Like, Bully Ray's making his comeback, and the fans are just like silent because they're like, do we cheer? Because this guy just shit all over us before, so I don't think I'm gonna cheer. So they were just dead quiet. You know, you had some people like, oh, brr, you know, just cheering and stuff. But most of the crowd was just fucking quiet as shit because Team 3D heels all night, baby faces in the main event. I thought it was just absolutely stupid. It really ruined the match, took the fans completely out of it, and it sucked. So yeah, that would be the only thing I would complain about, is just turning Team 3D into babyfaces during this match. I thought it was absolutely stupid. It really killed the main event. But other than that, it was a pretty good match. Team 3D wins, so I guess they're the best tag team in the history of TNA. You know, whatever. I'm really surprised James Storm wasn't on here. Well, I guess, you know, it wouldn't be him and Beer Money, but at least AMW for one night only. Like, come on, that's what these pay-per-views are for. One night only. The return of the Machine Guns, the return of the Naturals, the return of Beer Money, the return of, you know, whatever. But, for what it was, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. Like I said, it was good. If you like tag team wrestling like I do, definitely check this out. It was great. Not great. It was good. It was solid. But yeah, the only thing I'd complain about is the main event. Just took the crowd right out of it. Other than that, it was good. I enjoyed it. So, high five for TNA One Night Only pay-per-views. Next we got Raw. This was the old school edition of Raw. I enjoyed this quite a bit. It was fun to see all the legends. There was one legend that, like, didn't get used at all. So, like, later on the show, they brought out all the legends, and they were just like, oh, thank you, blah, 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 you know, thank you for coming. And one of those people was Godfather, and Godfather didn't appear on the show at all. Like, in a backstage segment, nothing. So when he came out, it was just like, oh, Godfather was there? I didn't even know. Like, why didn't you do something in the backstage segment with him? But, I guess PG or whatever. But, So I would have liked to see him been used in some capacity, because everyone else was. Arn Anderson was, IRS, Ted DiBiase, Piper, Too Cool, Booker T, DDP. So I just don't know why Godfather wasn't used. Whatever. Maybe his segment got scrapped or something. What do I want to talk about? We had the debut of the Wyatts with Daniel Bryan against Mysterio and the Usos. There's Luke Harper, Eric Rowe, and Daniel Bryan against Usos and Rey Mysterio. Pretty good match. Usos and Mysterio win. Let's actually talk about the starting segment, which was Ric Flair comes out, introduces the show, whatever. Thank you for coming to Old School Night Raw. Randy Orton comes out, complains about having to face Cena at the Rumble. They go back and forth. Cena comes out, blah, blah, blah. One thing I'm surprised I want to talk about real quick. On these past 2 episodes of Raw, for trying to build up a main event segment for the Rumble, because, Cena versus Orton for the WWE Championship, that's supposed to be a big deal, but it hasn't, ended Raw at all. They've, rarely built up to this match in these 2 episodes, Raw and SmackDown. They've done little stuff, not big stuff. The things that have been ending the show are the Shield, the Wyatt family, and not Orton and Cena. So it seems like they're not really focusing on that feud so much as, other stuff. I know John Cena's dad ends up getting, punted in the head by Orton in, one of these upcoming weeks. But for giving this, little to no build-up, I was, really surprised, especially it being, for the WWE title. You just built up the WWE title as being very important throughout the whole year. The face of the company, blah, 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 blah. And then, having one champion at TLC, and then the champion, all his shit that he does on the show is unimportant. So I just thought that was very strange. So yeah, next we got Piper's Pit. His guest was the Shield. Piper was pretty much just trying to turn them all against each other. Ambrose, you lost to Punk. Rollins, you lost to Punk. Reigns, you didn't lose to Punk, but if you beat him, does that make you the best in the Shield? And just stuff like that, just trying to get them to turn on each other. The Shield surround Piper, but CM Punk and the New Age Outlaws make the save. Nice to see Billy and Road Dogg. We'll talk about them more in a second. Next we got nothing. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out. They talk about how Lesnar wants to be WWE champion. Mark Henry comes out, gets another ass whooping. Then Big Show comes out and tosses Lesnar in the ring. So that's building towards a match. Yay, another fucking Big Show Brock Lesnar match. Woo! So exciting. What else we got? Next we had 3MB versus Too Cool. This was an okay match. I just like seeing all these guys in the ring together. I just thought it was a cool little match. And then last but not least, the main event, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Good match. Roman wins. After the match, the Shield try to attack Punk, but Jake the Snake Roberts comes out. Surprised. I don't think anyone expected him to be there. And distracts them while the New Age Outlaws take out Rollins and Punk. Punk hits the go to sleep on Ambrose, and then Jake puts the snake on Ambrose as he has a big smile on his face. It was, he definitely enjoyed that moment, as you could clearly see. That, or he had awesome nightmares, or awesome dreams. Maybe he was dreaming about a big snake on top of him, and then, his dream came to reality. I don't know. But I thought it was just a cool episode. They did some fun stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I did. So that was that. Next we got NXT. Nothing really to talk about. The main event was Hunico and Camacho versus the Ascension in a Tornado Tag Team match. Good match. Ascension win, and that's about it. Next we got Dixie. It said Dixie because that was one of my notes. But next we got Impact, and I'd have to say this is one of the best Impacts I've seen in quite some time. This was the episode where we had AJ versus Magnus for the unification match. My world title versus your world title. So throughout the whole show, you had she signed AJ to a one-night deal for tonight, so he can lose the title to Magnus or win or whatever. And throughout the show, we had the heels, all the heels. We even had like Lady Tapa, Gale, the Bromans, Zima Ion, EC3, all these fucking guys just take out all the baby faces. You know, you had Lady Tapa take out ODB backstage. Eric Young took her to a hospital, so that put her or him away. Pretty much just trying to get rid of all the people that AJ Styles would consider a friend. Just pretty much take out all the baby faces in the show. And I just like this whole internal war within the company where you have all the heels. As Dixie Carter, you know, she's the owner. She gets all these heels to take out the baby faces so they don't interfere with the show. And I just liked it. There was always stuff going on, and it involved a lot of people. And I really enjoyed this show. We had the Bromans take out Joseph Park. Lady Tapa took out ODB, and then that kind of took out Eric Young because he wanted to go help ODB. James Storm and Gunner, they did an in-ring promo, just kind of teasing tension between the two over the briefcase, and then backstage someone takes them out. EC3 versus Samoa Joe. I like this. I like how they're building up Samoa Joe as a top babyface again. You know, this guy deserves it. He's been with the company for a long time. He's been through a lot of garbage. You know, who remembers the... Oh shit, the Nation of Violence. Holy shit, that was terrible. And just some stupid stuff. And, you know, he's finally just getting back into the world title picture. And this was a good catapult for that, you know, taking out, you know, Hardy's no longer there in the company. Dixie drove them off. You know, AJ's no longer a part of the company. There's so much chaos. I really enjoyed this episode. So anyways, next we had Kurt Angle versus Bad Influence in a steel cage handicap match. Pretty good match. Angle wins. Then we had backstage, Angle had to go for an emergency or whatever. Next we had Bobby Roode versus Sting in a steel cage match. Pretty good match. Roode wins. They tried to take out Sting, but they didn't end up, you know, doing the job. Next you got Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson. They meet up at a funeral home. Bully says Anderson has taken everything away from him and challenges him to a match next week. This was good and corny at the same time. This was like a very fine line between both. Like, it was good, but it was also really corny, you know, where it's the camera angles, the zoom-ins on the faces. I'm surprised they didn't have depressing music play as Bully Ray talked. But I really enjoyed this and the build-up to this, but I don't know what they're going to do with Bully Ray. You know, now he's got an asphyxiation with pyro and lighter fluid and try to set Joseph Park on fire. And I don't know. I really don't know what this is going to lead to, but we'll just have to wait and see. They got a match next week. On the next episode, we'll be reviewing the Genesis show, so that should be good. And then last but not least, AJ Styles versus Magnus, TNA World Title, no DQ match. This is a good match. Magnus wins and is the undisputed TNA World Champion. I really enjoyed this, how it was booked, because you had Magnus take on AJ, and then pretty much right away, Rockstar Spud and EC3 got involved, and then Sting came out to help, and then the Bromans came out, and then DJ Zima Ion came out, and then you had Bad Influence and Bobby Roode. You had all these people come out and just beat the shit out of Sting and AJ so they could finally get rid of AJ from the company. And it really leaves the door open for a potential AJ Styles to come back, where it's like, you know, I can see it perfectly now. MVP brings him back because, you know, MVP, you know, he's bringing in all these guys. He brought in the Wolves. He's kind of rallying up all the baby faces to stand up against Dixie Carter, and then, you know, he brings back AJ. I think it's perfect. It writes itself. I can see AJ Styles versus Magnus at Slammiversary. I can see it. I was thinking maybe, you know, there was rumors about that match happening at Lockdown, but I believe Lockdown's going to be Samoa Joe versus Magnus or something like that. And, you know, I can see AJ versus Magnus, TNA World Championship match at Slammiversary. I'm calling it right now. It's going to happen. Slammiversary, AJ comes back. He's probably not going to come back at the pay-per-view. He's going to come up in the weeks leading to it. And, yeah, I can definitely see him coming back to TNA. And, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. It's a possibility. You know, he might or might not. But I think AJ's coming back. The story is just too open-ended. Like, it would just be a perfect ending for AJ to finally come back after, you know, letting Dixie and MVP battle it out. You know, Dixie's got Magnus and all these heels and stuff. And then, you know, MVP's got Joe, the Wolves, and now AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy, and now AJ Styles. I could see Jeff Hardy versus Magnus in a rematch, because Rockstar Spud and EC3 cost Jeff Hardy the world title on that episode, the final resolution thing or whatever. So I can see that happening. I don't know. That's actually a good toss-up. Is it going to be? I can actually see that happening. Jeff Hardy versus Magnus at Slammiversary. I don't know. I also can say I can see AJ and Magnus happening. I don't know. It's a toss-up, but I think that if, you know, I think AJ and Magnus is what they want to do, and if that doesn't work, then they can do Jeff Hardy versus Magnus. So I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was great. Just so much happening, so much chaos, and it was just really good. Next we got SmackDown. Nothing really I want to talk about, but one thing I was thinking about while watching this was they should have the old school theme throughout the whole week. It shouldn't just be Raw. It should be SmackDown too, because I think that'd give people more of a reason to watch SmackDown too. Like, oh shit, you know, Raw was good with all these legends and stuff. Oh, they're gonna be on SmackDown too. That's awesome. So I thought it was really disappointing that they didn't use more of the legends. I mean, we had the main event, which was the Shield versus CM Punk and the New Age Outlaws. That was a good match, but I would have liked to see more. You know, some of, like I said, Godfather wasn't used. Maybe do something with him on SmackDown. I don't know. But other than the main event, we had Biggie Langston versus Orton. He had a good match. Biggie's been having some good matches recently. He had one with a good one with Fandango on Raw, and then a good one with Orton here. And I'd say these matches are better than like half the matches Biggie's had in WWE. Like I was talking about on the last episode, how his pay-per-view matches have sucked. His match with Fandango for the IC title and his match here with Orton were fucking way better. This is like the pay-per-view quality match that he should be having at pay-per-views. Well, meh. So that was that. Next we got Ring of Honor. This was just another recap show. They just showed matches from Final Battle 2013. I think the next episode of Ring of Honor that we're going to review is actually the shows, which will be a lot better. You know, I think AJ is finally going to make his Ring of Honor debut in those, so that'll be interesting to watch. So, can't wait for that. So next we got some wrestling news real quick, so let's get through that. First, some WrestleMania 30 news, which I thought was kind of interesting. First, Rock has announced that he has no plans to wrestle at WrestleMania 30, so he's officially off the table. He confirmed rumors that it was supposed to be him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30, but, you know, he's so busy with his movies and stuff, he's not going to be able to make it to this year. He might make an appearance or maybe like a recorded thing, but I don't expect him to be there live or wrestle or do anything. But he says maybe for WrestleMania 30. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And that was one of the big WrestleMania things. Another one was around this time, I don't know if it's still being rumored or whatever, but it was rumored to have kind of like a rematch between Piper and Hogan. That was an idea that was being rumored about, where it would either be Hogan and a babyface, which would probably be Cena, versus Piper and a heel. And it would either be a tag match or a singles match, and Hogan's in Cena's corner and Piper's in the heel's corner. I would actually like to see that. I think that'd be a cool match for WrestleMania, you know, since it's WrestleMania 30 and then happened at WrestleMania 1, I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that happen, but I think the plans are as of right now to have Bray Wyatt and Cena at WrestleMania, and then this idea is pretty much scrapped, which kind of sucks, but I think it'd be interesting. It still might happen with other people. I don't think so, but there's always a chance. So I just thought that was two interesting things. Next, we have some development on somebody, Ezekiel Jackson. I haven't heard of this name in forever. Apparently, he is still with the company, and apparently he's having surgery for 2 herniated discs. And apparently he says he's going to be back soon. I doubt that after having surgery and being out for so long. I'm actually surprised he's still under contract. Him, JTG, 2 people, I don't know how they still have a job. I just don't fucking know. It amazes me. And, but yeah, so he's injured. He should be back soon, but I honestly expect him to get released. Like, they've used him before, and it didn't really work out too well, so, like, they've tried some stuff with him. Maybe give him one more chance or something, but other than that, I see Ezekiel Jackson getting future endeavored within the near future. Probably this year. You know, I think it might happen. Also, one thing I wanted to get your guys' opinion on was, there's a rumor going, not a rumor, a report going around by F4WOnline.com that WWE officials are very high on NXT superstar Mojo Rawley, and there are people in the backstage that feel like he could carry the company in the future, and it's expected he'll be pushed very strong when brought up to the main roster. Now, when I heard this, I completely disagree. I don't really see any potential like that in Mojo Rawley. Like, that's why I want to get your guys' opinion. Do you think Mojo Rawley has potential to be a top star in WWE in the future? I don't think so with a name like Mojo Rawley, and I don't know. I really don't think so that he could carry the company in the future. But let me know in the comments. Do you think so? Do you think not? And why? So let me know. What else do we got? Oh, let's talk about Old School Raw for a second. Jerry Lawler, I forgot to mention that. He was not a part of Old School Raw. He was actually very sick, and it was rumored that he was suffering from chest pains and vomiting. So people automatically assume, like, oh my god, he's having another heart attack, whatever, he's sick. But he later explained that he had the stomach flu, and that he's feeling alright. So, a little bit of a scare, but he's doing alright, so that's good to hear. Next we got, oh man, this is big news, the release of a top diva, Caitlyn. When I first heard this and I read the article, it said, breaking news, top diva and former champion parts way with WWE. Now, I like reading these articles and then guessing who it is. And so I went on Wikipedia, I was looking at the former champions, and I'm like, okay, who's on the roster? So it's either Alicia Fox, Layla, or Caitlyn. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's Alicia Fox. I think it's either Layla or Caitlyn. Then I said Caitlyn, and it turned out to be her. I've seen the way that she's been used on the past couple weeks of Raw, and like, she's not really doing anything. And apparently she asked for her release or something, or she was released. I don't know, but you know, she just says, like, hold on, it says it right here. She requested a release, but because they just didn't have anything for her, so they gave her release. And she says she has no interest in wrestling again. Well, I don't know if she doesn't have interest in wrestling. She might do WWE again, but for the meantime, she has no interest in, like, you know, going to TNA or something. And she's gonna be doing some, like, workout DVDs with her husband or whatever. So, you know, sad to see her go. I thought she was good. She definitely had what's the best way to describe this? I don't know. I thought she was hot. She's the perfect diva, I would say. She's good on the mic, she's a decent wrestler, and she's hot. So, like, I don't know, but whatever. A problem with a lot of these divas is, like, there's no long-term potential in them. It's all, like, short-term. Like, you get the divas here, and they last, like, 3, 4, I'd say maybe 7 years at the most. And then, you know, they don't have a passion for wrestling, so they leave, and they go do modeling and all this stuff. And, you know, they don't go to companies like TNA or Shimmer or whatever, and they just kind of fade away. And, you know, sometimes Eve is another one. You know, they just don't have interest in wrestling, and they just come in, you know, make their money and leave. So, you know, it sucks to see. There's only like a couple women in WWE that I think have long-term potential. That's AJ, Natalia, I'd say Tamina, and that's about it. I think all the other ones are like ticking time bombs. Like, oh, I'm getting older. I'm not going to be this beautiful forever. Time to fucking hit the road. And so they're all gone. Next, we got Matt Morgan says he's leaving pro wrestling. Yes, all Matt Morgan fans out there. I don't know if he has any, but you know, if you are a fan, there you go. He says he's no longer interested in wrestling. That you know, he's been in talks with TNA and WWE, but he got this new job offer from a big-time medical device company, and he said it was too good of an offer for him to refuse. So he ended up taking the job. And he said he's not retiring from pro wrestling. You know, he still plans on maybe doing a once-a-month type thing or something. But as far as a full-time wrestling career, that is not in the future for Matt Morgan, at least for right now. So sad to see him go. I think his whole run in TNA was kind of like up and down. Like they wanted to push him as a main eventer and for him to be the world champion, but they never just pulled the trigger on him. And I don't know, but you know what? Sad to see him go. Sad to see him never really be a top guy in TNA. Like I said, it always fluctuated with him, but he had some success there. And you know, I think he might be back in the wrestling business in the future. Actually, how old is he? Because I'd say his age determines whether or not he will come back. So let's actually look up his age real quick. He's 37? Oh, yeah, he's fucking done then. If I thought he might have been like maybe 35, 34, but if he's 37, then yeah, I'd say he's done with wrestling forever. So, sad to see him go, but like I said, he isn't calling it a retirement, but might as well be. So yeah, sad to hear that. Next, we have, I had plans to talk about this, but we're not going to talk about it. That's the whole Ryback thing. During this time, there was a lot of heat on Ryback. It's pretty much, you know, he went on a Twitter massacre and just said a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And, I don't know. I don't want to give that jackass any attention, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, he's just a fucking live bomb. And, I don't know. I don't know what to say about Ryback. Alright, two more things here. Of course, during these couple weeks, WWE announced the official release of the network, and I believe the network releases tonight after Raw. I believe so. So, you'll probably be seeing this like as soon as it goes up, but we'll talk about it a little bit. So they have officially announced the WWE network. It's going to release February 24th, which is today. It's going to cost $9.99 a month. And we'll have a 24/7 live stream of new original shows, pay-per-view, classic pay-per-views from ECW, WCW, WWF, WWE. Along with this this network deal, you'll be able to get the pay-per-views now at a cheaper price. I believe they cost $9.99. $9.99. I think so. I think each pay-per-view costs $9.99. If you're part of the network. So that's cool. And they're also going to have shows like The Legends House, which is a reality TV show with legends all living in one house. The Monday Night War, WWE Countdown, WrestleMania Rewind, stuff like that. And they said there will be some commercials and advertising sponsors on the thing, but not too many. And what else? I think there's a free trial. I don't know too much about that, but yeah. And not last but not least, there's still one more thing I want to talk about. They also have talked about what they're going to do regarding Chris Benoit footage. Of course, that's a very controversial subject and someone that WWE has wanted to stay away from ever since what happened. And they pretty much have tried to write him out of history or just try and kind of ignore him. They've gone to great extents to do that. But they said they finally are going to start acknowledging Benoit as part of history in their company. And they said that when they show footage of Chris Benoit, that they'll go along with a advisory note that will be played every show before that he appears on before that. So good to see that, because I was really interested to see how they would handle that situation. And you know, good to see. You know, you still like, I don't know. There's two Chris Benoits. There's the wrestler, and then there's the person. You know, the wrestler, you gotta look at all his accomplishments and everything he's done in the company and in the history of pro wrestling. But the person as a man, you know what? Yeah, it's you can't respect that. But him as a wrestler, I'd say go for it. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. And last but not least, some sad news. Mae Young has died at the age of 90. And that's crazy, man. Like, she is old as shit. I don't know what she died of. I think she just died of old age or something. But I never really knew what Mae Young did. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was just kind of that old lady that was always with Fabulous Moolah. And I know Moolah was a wrestler, but Mae Young, I don't know what. Like, I don't know her history in pro wrestling, but I know she's. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, the only thing I know about Mae Young is, you know, the thing with Mark Henry, and then she got powerbombed by Bubba Ray. And I actually watched that last night, and holy shit, she was like 70 years old when she took it, and it looked brutal as shit. But sad to see her that she's dead, and, you know, big loss to pro wrestling whenever they lose a legend like this, especially at 90 years old. So, I don't know, it's very sad to hear that. So, you never want to hear someone in the wrestling business has died, so that sucks. And I'll probably do some research on her after, because honestly I don't know what she's done. Like, I don't know. All I know is her affiliation with Fabulous Moolah. So, I don't know. So yeah, that's about it. Rest in peace, Mae Young. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Weekly Wrestling Review. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch us next time where we got reviews for 2 weeks worth of Raw, SmackDown, Impact, NXT, Ring of Honor. I don't know if we're going to be reviewing the Royal Rumble. I don't know if it falls into those weeks that I'll be reviewing. I think there's a TNA One Night Only, the old school, whatever. But I think that's about it. There's no Ring of Honor pay-per-views or whatever, so yeah. So catch us next time, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!